Podcast.
I'm going to pass out to Cleveland for the motivational moment.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. All right. So today I want to talk about the concept of light work. So for those who aren't familiar.
See, you go with the racist shit again. Some light shit. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Dark work, brother.
Dark work. So the concept of light work. So for those who aren't familiar with the term light work, it is a common phrase used in Black American culture. And essentially how it's used, if you can do something with a level of ease that other people may look at as difficult, or if you can endure something with a level of ease and other people would look at it and say that it's a struggle, they may say something that you're doing or enduring is hard. But then you may reply and say, nah, it's not tough. This is light work. And it's funny because a couple of weeks ago, I had to give a presentation to a group of people where English wasn't their native language. And honestly, I was like a little bit stressed about it at first because I had to work with a translator during the presentation and I had never done that before. And I was kind of tight because I was like, A, I feel like it's going to slow my pace up. But B, how do I know that what this guy is saying is actually what I just said? So as we started to do the presentation, I realized that all that I needed to do was what I normally did. And then when I would finish talking, he would pick it up and he would do the work for me. So the presentation actually went really well, but I had to learn to trust the translator. So I had to trust what I didn't understand, and what I thought was would work against me actually was working for me. And once I learned to trust what I didn't understand, I realized that what I was doing was light work. So a lot of us are going through, have gone through, will go through different situations in life. And when we go through those situations, we may fail to understand why we're going through what we're going through. And we may look at situations as if it's detracting from us, as if it's holding us back, as if it's keeping us down. And especially when those situations are things that you didn't create yourself. It's one thing when you fall into a rut, but you can see the decisions that you made that led to that rut. It's a whole different thing when you fall into a rut and you have no idea how you got here. You're looking at your circumstances, you're looking at that situation that you're sitting in, and you're wondering how you got there. Not only are you wondering how you got there, you're wondering how much you're going to lose based upon the situation that you're in because you can't see your way out. You don't understand how you got there. You want to say that it's going to work out for your good, but since you don't understand it, you really can't trust that things are going to work out for your good. So when I was thinking about this, I said, why is it that we generally know that most things work out for our benefit, but when we're sitting in that thing, we don't trust it? And what God gave me is we just need a translator for the situation that we're in. So the translation that he gave me is that these 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17, it says, for our light afflictions, which are but for a moment, work for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Now, reason why this is a verse that translates things for us, because when we're going through a situation, we feel like that situation is heavy. But that verse, God translates and says, you say your situation is heavy. I'm telling you that your affliction is light. It's a light affliction. And next we say we feel like our situations last forever. When we're in something and it feels like a struggle and it feels intense, we feel like it will never end. But then God translates it and says your light affliction is but for a moment. And then we also feel like things are working against us. But he said these light afflictions are working for you. But then on the flip side of that, when things finally start going well, we start to feel light. We start to feel like a weight has been released from his shoulders. But then God translates even that, and he says that the light afflictions are but for a moment. They're working for you, but they're building an exceeding weight of glory on you. So that lightness that you feel isn't just because something was lifted. It's also because he's added value to your life through that thing that you experience. And then last but not least, when things finally are in motion and we're kind of coasting and we're cruising, if we could be honest with each other, sometimes it feels like it's temporary, like it won't last. But in that same verse, God is saying, nah, this is eternal. So I am here as a translator today for the motivational moment to let you know that those trials that seem like they are holding you back are actually moving you forward. If it seems like it's pushing you down, it's actually being used to pull you up. If it seems like it's taking away from you, it's actually adding to you. So the trials that you go through can never destroy you. They can only refine you. they can never work against you. They will always end up working for you. As the verse says, for our light afflictions, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. So essentially what God is saying in that scripture is what you're going through right now is light work. Now, these two things that seem to be completely opposite can work together in your favor. And some may see it as a conflict. Others may call it a paradox. I just choose to think of it as a juxtaposition.
Just like he said, everything
Woo.
that's good is good and is good. But
it's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. And just because she's bad doesn't mean she's bad. It actually means that she's good.
Good to you and good for you. So I'm gonna just tell you this though. With like, damn, God talking about what we going through is light work. What the hell is the hard work? That's the part that got me shook. And then on top of that, you know how you like, oh, it's only for a moment. Like, yo, I don't know if his clock is broke. You know, they say he come right on time, but he be on CP time. And I feel like
he functions outside of time, man.
Nah, son, when you be going through stuff and you be asking God, he be like, who all there? Like, he don't know if he coming yet. And I be like, yo, my man, like, just come right now, son. Like,
yo,
up.
I feel like life is a series of reframes. You have to consistently reframe as what this situation is either teaching you, what you should be learning. And it kind of provides like a little cover for you to kind of continue to persevere while, you know, things are being thrown at you. But
here's what it is too. I honestly think that the way that God works, everything goes into one bucket. Like if you think about like accounting, like you have income and expenses, right? So you have positive and then you have negative. The negative subtracts from the positive. Expenses subtract from the income. But God really works in one column, and everything is the income column. Everything is the positive column. So anything that you go through, he uses it to push you forward. There's another scripture that says all things work together for good. So that basically lets us know that there is no expense column. It's only an income column. You just have to wait and see how that thing that you experience is going to be turned for your good. Now, it doesn't make it any easier when you're going through it. It can encourage you when you're going